Hello everyone, and welcome to another inside look at Scars of Mirrodin, the latest expansion from Magic the Gathering. We're here in the building where all these awesome cards are designed, Wizards of the Coast. I'm Ryan Miller, with me, Bill Stark.
And today we have one of several new abilities found in Scars of Mirrodin, Proliferate.
A brutal war is forming between the Phyrexians, these twisted beings of flesh and metal, and the Mirrans, these not so twisted beings of flesh and metal. The Phyrexians want to reshape the Mirrodin plane in their own image, and the Mirrans are simply trying to defend their home. So how does Proliferate fit into all this?
Well, Ryan, most Mirrans don't know a war is on quite yet, but the Phyrexians are slowly making their presence known, spreading disease, decay, and death as they expand across the plane. Proliferate is a new keyword action that represents this, well, proliferation of contagion.
So how does it work?
When you're instructed to proliferate, you first look at every permanent and player that has a counter.
Wait, player that has a counter?
I did say player. Poison counters are a major part of the Phyrexians' arsenal. In fact, there's a separate video about poison and a new Phyrexian ability that involves poison, Infect.
So, I look for every permanent and player with a counter, then what?
Then, for each one, you can choose to add a counter of a kind already there. So you can give your already poisoned opponent another poison counter, a creature with a -1/-1 counter on it another one, and many more options.
Cool. So what kind of cards have Proliferate?
Phyrexian cards, Ryan. Proliferate is a keyword action, so it can appear on instants and sorceries like Steady Progress here. It can appear on creatures like Thrumming Bird, has a triggered ability that causes you to proliferate. It can also appear on other permanents as the effect of an activated ability. Check out Contagion Clasp.
Now, I was going to show you some Proliferate in action, but I think it's really important that I continue to talk about it at length.
You know, Ryan, I think we should just show them.
Yeah, okay.
In this game, I control a Culling Dais, which allows me to tap it and sacrifice a creature to put a charge counter on it. Then, I can sacrifice the Culling Dais to draw a card for each charge counter on it. I also control Jace the Mind Sculptor with 3 loyalty counters, a Necrogen Sensor with no charge counters left, and a Necropede.
And I control Moriak Reaver, a 3/2 creature, and Tumble Magnet with a charge counter on it.
So, my Necropede was busy early, and Ryan's up to 3 poison counters. But last turn, he dropped a Moriak Reaver in my way. So, here we go. I'm going to sacrifice my Necropede to activate the ability of my Culling Dais.
Necropede's triggered ability says that when it goes to the graveyard from the battlefield, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creatures. So, I'm guessing that's my Reaver.
Yep. When Culling Dais' ability resolves, I'll put a charge counter on it, like so.
And now that there are lots of counters around,
I'll cast Steady Progress. Now, to proliferate, let's look at every permanent and player with a counter.
Okay, so I've got 3 poison counters. My Moriak Reaver has a -1/-1 counter on it. Let's see, my Tumble Magnet has a charge counter. Your Culling Dais also has a charge counter, and Jace has 3 loyalty counters.
Note that my Necrogen Sensor doesn't get to be considered even though it had charge counters when it entered the battlefield because it doesn't have any as I'm proliferating.
Okay, so what happens next?
Now for each one, I can choose to add a counter of the same kind that's already there. Better yet, I can make this decision for each permanent or player individually, so I only have to do the things that help me.
Oh, you want to help me out a little bit?
Not this time, Ryan. I'm afraid you'll be getting another poison counter, another -1/-1 counter for the Moriak Reaver, and Jace and the Culling Dais will get another loyalty and charge counter respectively. Loyalty for Jace, charge for the Dais, then I'll draw a card.
So my Moriak Reaver now has 0 toughness, and off to the graveyard it goes. Even though Proliferate is a Phyrexian mechanic, Mirran artifacts that use charge counters can get in on the fun. Turns out Proliferate can spread the disease and the love.
Planeswalkers can come along for the ride too, like you saw. Level counters from Rise of the Eldrazi levelers, +1/+1 counters, any kind of counter will do.
What if you have a permanent with more than one type of counter, say a leveler with a +1/+1 counter?
If you choose to add a counter, you'll only get one, so you choose one of the kinds of counters on the permanent.
Easy enough.
Yes, it is. There were all kinds of decks during testing that used Proliferate, and there are plenty of cards in Scars of Mirrodin that can take advantage of extra counters.
If you choose to side with the Phyrexians, Proliferate can help you on your way to victory. But what side will you choose?